Do you enjoy hanging out in your dorm, but just wish there's a little bit more to do? 97, 98, 99, 100. Ready or not, here I come. Chuck, you didn't even try to hide. Hey guys, I'm Jeremy in VR. I'm a builder here inside Rec Room, and today I'm going to show you how to build your very own dorm room swing. So first, let's take out our Makerpen, which you can do so by going to your watch, going to Backpack, and then use Makerpen. First, let's create the chains for our swing. So looking at your Makerpen, go to Palette, Shapes, and we will go down to the donut. Next, I will go to Swatches, and I will change my color to white, and the material to shiny metal. Now let's go to Tools, and Create, and making sure snapping is on grid and you're working in world space, let's create our first donut. Now let's go to Rotate, and then clicking on the blue ring, click it one time to rotate it 90 degrees. Now let's go to Manipulate, click on the donut, and let's drag it one side to create our first chain link. Now I'll go to Scale, and clicking on the white box, let's scale it in a little bit to make it smaller. Now on your Makerpen, let's click Done, and we have our first chain link. Now let's move our first chain link into the position that we want our chain to start. So let's go to Move, click on the chain length, and clicking on the arrows, let's move it into place. Now that we have our first chain length in place, let's clone it to create the rest of our chain. So go to Clone, clicking on the green arrow, let's bring it down. Let's go to Rotate, and then clicking on the green ring, let's rotate it 90 degrees, and then select Move, and we can make it fit in place. So now that we created our first clone and adjusted it, we can now go to Clone and repeat Clone, and it will continue to build our chain. Now that we've built our entire chain, let's go to Select, and then select all the links, and then selecting Options, let's merge shapes. And now it is one object. Now let's go to Configure, click on the chain, and let's turn it into Decoration. With our first chain built, let's go to Clone, click on the chain, and clicking on the blue arrow, let's create our second chain. And now we can create the base for our swing. So let's go to Palette. For shapes, let's go to Cube. And for swatches, I'm going to change it to yellow. And for the material, the worn wood. Now, let's create a small cube. From here, let's go to Move, click on the cube, and let's bring it down. And now selecting Manipulate, we can drag these boxes to create the shape of our swing. Perfect, and now we have our swing. Now, let's spawn in a seat so we can anchor ourselves to the swing once it starts swinging. To do so, let's go to Palette, then Search, and then type in Seat. Now selecting the seat, we can place it on our swing. Now, going to Tools, we can move it, rotate it, and scale it to fit into our seat. Now that we have the seat where we want it, let's go to Configure, click on the seat, and then let's turn on Visible only when components are visible. Now, when you let go of your Makerpen, the seat's invisible, but it's still there. Before we go any further, let's select the three objects of the two chains and the yellow seat, and let's merge them together to form one object. So, let's go to Tools, Select each object, go to Options, and then Merge Shapes. Now, let's spawn in a clamp that will hold the swing and the seat together and will act as our pivot point for the swing. So let's go to Palette, then Search, and type in Clamp. Now we can select the clamp and spawn it in. Next, I'm going to rotate, and then clicking on the red ring, we'll rotate it 90 degrees. Now, let's go to Move, and we can move this in the spot we want for it to be the pivot point of the swing. Now let's connect the clamp to the swing and to the seat. So to do so, let's go to Connect, and then clicking on this edge part of the clamp, click and drag to the swing, and again to the seat. And now all of it is held together by this clamp. And finally, let's do the fun part, which is animating the swing. So for that, we will need two things. Let's go to Palette, Search, and type in Animation. I will spawn in an animation controller. Now we need something that will start the animation chip, so let's go back to Palette, Search, and type in Event Receiver. So let's spawn in the event receiver, and then go to Tools, Connect. Let's connect it from here to Play. Now we need to tell the event receiver what event to look out for to start the animation. So let's go to Configure, click on the event receiver, and where it says Event, I'm going to click on the drop-down menu and go down to where it says Room Loaded. This means anytime an instance of this room is loaded, it will play the animation. Now let's connect the animation chip to the clamp so we can begin animating our swing. So go to Connect, and at this top bar, let's drag and connect it to the clamp. Now let's go to Edit, and then select the animation chip, and now you'll see we have a new menu. This is what we will use to animate the swing. First, I'm going to hit Select, click on the clamp, and I will click Rotate. To create a smooth swinging animation, we need to begin the animation when it's in an up position. So clicking on the blue ring, let's drag the swing up into the starting position before it starts to swing. Now let's go back to our menu and scroll up, and where it says in and out, let's change both of those to say ease. This will mean when it goes up and down, it'll have a smooth stop and a smooth start. Now let's click on Add, and it will create a second point, which will be the final position of our swing. So clicking on the blue circle, we can now drag the swing to the final location. Now let's hit play to see how it looks. Now let's hit Done. And our final step is to go to Configure, select the animation chip, and where it says Playback Mode, we want to change forward to Ping Pong. That means the animation will play forward and then play backward, and then play forward and then play backward. And with the event receiver set to when room is loaded, we just have to save the room to activate the swing. And there we have it, your very own dorm room swing. And now that you're a master swing builder, think of how you can be creative and using these tools can create even bigger and better things. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing as it helps me out a lot. And I'll see you in the next video.